Another jump short shot.
Yo, what's up again, y'all? We are back with another episode of Building Better DJs with the Beat Junkies. What's up, y'all? I'm Babu.
Rhettmatic.
Melo-D.
D-Styles.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast wherever you watch or listen to our podcast. For everything about our record pool, make sure you check us out at www.beatjunkies.com. For our online school, www.beatjunkies.tv. And of course, everything about our physical school here in Glendale, the Beat Junkie Institute of Sound, go to beatjunkiesound.com. But like the title says, we are back with today's topic, DJ Mixers Part 2.
Part 2.
Yeah.
Sick.
So we did a part 1. Please check it out if you haven't seen it before. We talked about the older mixers. So if you hear this combo and you're hearing how come they didn't mention this one or that one, maybe we mentioned it in part 1, right? So we're moving down the timeline. We're not exactly going through an exact timeline, but we're trying to keep it in order of how we remembered it. We did a little research here and there. So we're not saying this is the end all, say all on DJ mixer history. This is just, once again, from our point of view. But the last time we talked, we left off with, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, the 06 Pro Vestax. We talked about the Samurai series a little bit. I think that's where we left off.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
So, do any of you guys have any memories of the Vestax Samurai series of mixers?
I remember seeing it in Japan. Toshi unveiled it, and for some weird reason, he was like, "Yeah, this is your idea." And I was like, "What the hell are you talking about? I wouldn't come up with this idea." So he's trying to give me and Short and Q credit for it, but maybe Q was joking around and said, "Hey, what if you do this and have it double click?" And he actually went out and made it.
You know, that's not a weird thing, because I remember, Q, when he gets on one, he's always just throwing ideas, and he's super creative and off the wall. I could see them, especially with a little bit of a language barrier, they could easily have said,
misconstrued.
Yeah.
And we say that, because for those of you out there, thanks, Mo. I'm sure he's already put up a picture of one of the Samurai mixers that we've seen. We never really thought of it. It seemed kind of gimmicky. What D's talking about is that there was this knob on there that gave the fader all these different characteristics. So you could turn it to one setting, and one swipe of the fader would give you 2 clicks,
2 or 3 or 4, right?
And if you hit that 4 setting, all you had to do was go like this, and it was like a washboard, like
right.
Was it like a digital fader or something like that?
It was a digital fader, and a lot of it was, you're right. It's very gimmicky and almost like cheating. You know what I mean?
Right. It's like a modern day flash former type of effect.
And I remember too, the thing that we all loved about Vestax was just how much we all love their faders, and I just don't remember that fader, even if you just kept it in the regular mode. I don't remember when I tried it. I remember saying to myself, man, it just doesn't even feel like a dope fader like I'm used to. Yeah. So I don't think any of us really took the Samurai series too serious.
But you know what I have to say about the Samurai is it looked dope. It looked sick. It was like a dark burgundy. Gray contrast.
Yeah.
Like it looked sick, like an expensive ass Cadillac.
Yeah, it stood out for sure. Right. Yeah.
But
never had one. I never had one.
Okay. Never judged a book by its cover.
The looks are deceiving. Yeah. So, but Vestax did release some dope mixers still. This is the late Vestax era. And what year are we talking about, D, if you remember right? Like, so the next mixer we're talking about is the 08 Pro.
The 08 Pro, yeah. 08 Pro was a bigger version of like the 05, bigger than the 07. Came in 2 colors, a black and a white.
Sick.
Plate.
They looked cuckoo. They looked so filthy. Like the, I don't know which one I like better. I think I kind of want to just have both.
I actually had both, and I would swap the faceplate because it was like a 2-piece faceplate, the top. And then you had the main part, so you could have a black main part and then the white top, and you could swap
Mix
it out.
and match.
Yeah. The only bad thing with so the 08 mixer was pre-Serato. right?
Still pre-Serato.
Yeah, but the beautiful thing about it is it had these two little knobs on the front of the mixer, and it was like I guess they call it a nano tech fader adjustment where you can fine tune the cut. So you had a bigger curve, and then you had a finer where you can get it even more ultra sharp.
Is this something you suggested to Vestax D?
No, I don't think so.
I remember you used to always talk back in the day. It used to go over my head, and I get it now. But you used to always talk about, when we talk about faders, it's not just about how sharp the fader is necessarily, guys, but also that dead space.
Right.
That amount of dead space on top of how the slope of the cut, if that makes sense. So I feel like the Vestax was the first. I mean, we had adjustable faders already up to this point.
Right.
You know, the 05 did that.
Right.
It wasn't a new thing. You know, all the Vestax things had an adjustable curve. But what was different about this nano fader is you could actually adjust that space.
That space, yeah. Because I remember before that I remember me and Q asked Toshi and Vestax if they can deaden that space and make it smaller. So what we would put, like, you know, pieces of rubber, different things, metal, just to kind of push
Eat up that space.
Eat it up, yeah, push it out. And I remember Vestax actually made something. I don't know if they sold it, but they gave us these little rubber stoppers that you would put in the fader, and it would kind of make it more bouncier, and it would take away that
I remember
dead space.
those. Yeah,
right.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
That was dope.
Yeah.
You know, I always thought they made those just because some people liked the click and some people liked it silent, but
Yeah.
it also took up that dead space.
For sure.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yep.
So this is really super nerdy talk, but the 08, that was the breakthrough, was it that nano fader?
The nano fader, yeah.
And it was a sick ass looking mixer. Mo, if you have both versions up here, I don't know which one looks hotter, but
Right.
they both look sick.
Yeah.
And it's weird though. The mixer that came after that I want to move on to is the 05 Pro version 4.
Yep.
Man, I don't remember any of these. I remember the Samurai. I might have seen an 08. I don't remember. That was a 2-channel mixer? I'm sorry, I know we're
a lot of
moving
people
on.
slept on that mixer.
The
man.
05 4 now we're talking.
This is-
05
I
Pro.
recently just attained one. So I'm like fresh off, and shouts out to my man Silos. He was the one who copped it for me, man. He got me an early birthday present this year and surprised me with an 05 Pro 4. And the dope thing about the 05 Pro 4 is, and you got to see it, Melo, there was a black version
Yep.
and a red one. I have the red one. They both look sick. I don't know which one looks doper, but I'd love to have a black one too. But this one had the same fader
Yeah.
as D was talking about.
The nano fader.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you could do that super fine adjustment. So it had that crazy fader. But the innovation on the 05 Pro 4 was it had a series of pads on it.
Yes, I remember that. I remember
definitely
that.
don't
And
remember
it
this.
was
I remember that.
MIDI capable. So this was probably the first, I guess, technically the first Serato friendly mixer.
Right.
But it was not exclusive to Serato. It was MIDI mappable.
Okay, but there was no program built into the
Correct.
the mixer.
No.
Right. So, but you can it's
Like any other MIDI instrument, you can MIDI map
Gotcha.
the controls. So like those pads especially, you could go into Serato right now or Tractor or whatever your DVS is and sit there and MIDI map everything. So this mixer, even up to today, it could control a modern DVS.
Gotcha.
Like any of the modern mixers. So it was pretty innovative at the time, but at the same time, this was like on Vestax's way out at the time.
It was. That was their last basically, yeah, their last mixer that they put out.
That fader though, man, I still love cutting on that mixer's fader.
What year was
fader's
this?
dope.
Sorry to interrupt. What year was this? That ballpark.
2006.
Oh,
I
that
wanna say.
early, that far back, huh?
Something like
I was gonna
that.
guess a little later.
It was their last years. You know what I mean?
Because I remember, I'm sorry, sidetrack. I remember going to the NAMM show like around that same time and walking by the booth, and I definitely remember seeing the Samurai. And I maybe I did see like an 04 or an 08, but I never had a chance to actually use one. So they would have been around. Those mixers, all three of these mixers would have been around at the same time.
Samurai
Like that
was
same era.
earlier,
right?
Earlier, yeah.
03, 04, something
Yeah.
like that.
Do you remember when Vestax had their own store on Melrose?
I do.
It was around that time.
John Terry used to work there.
Yeah. That's when that the
Was it-
08 and then the 05.
What was it called? At the something to the max or something like that? Or is this just regular?
Can't remember.
That's on La Cienega, right?
It was on Melrose.
Melrose? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember it was out here somewhere.
I never got to go to that, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's weird. You know what, too, though, guys, is something we have to remember is, we jumped down the timeline because at a certain point we started working for Rane.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Before we move on to the Rane thing, I do have to say the Vestax era was great, and I actually missed these mixers we're talking about, and I'm on the back end trying to catch them now. Like I said, I'm lucky enough to get that 05 4, but really something special with those faders in the 08 and the 05 4. I really love scratching on that, and scratch heads know what I'm talking about. That's that is still such a fun, that clicky cut from the Vestax that they're known for. Probably the best iteration of the Vestax fader right there.
Yep.
I have sorry, before we just while we're on the topic, so part of my prize package for the Vestax battle that I won back in the 90s was this, and it was one of their first generation mixers, a PMC-50. It's a 4-channel mixer, and it's kind of the equivalent of Pioneer 900. You know what I mean?
Complete
channel,
big club
faders
installation.
Right.
XLRs at the top. It's pretty dope. I still have it. I never used it.
Damn, you still
but
have
I
that.
still have it. Yeah, PMC-50.
In the box.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's a mint. Anyway, sorry. Man.
No.
I
always
should
thought,
plug that in sometime.
Dude, I always thought Vestax made a bunch of cool stuff, and they got slept on a lot, during different eras. But shouts out to Vestax and everything they contributed to the DJ game. But moving down the line, like I said earlier, at a certain point, Rane came into the scene and took over.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the early Ranes, we weren't, super early on the Rane. I think
no, because we were still in Vestax.
Yeah.
And Rane, Rane's been around because of they're known for their like club mixers and also audiophile and stuff like that. But I think, like you said, as Vestax was coming out, they were also starting to come in too, for coming into more of the DJ battles, or not battles, but the DJ type mixers that we do.
2-channel mixers.
2-channel mixers.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So,
right. Yeah, that's a good point, Rhett. Like they definitely Rane had a huge footprint in the rotary, like the big club installation style mixers. And
Yes.
but I guess the 52, the Mojo, was their first step into the 2-channel battle mixer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a bunch of cats we knew actually had a hand in helping design the 52, the 54, and perhaps the 56, I guess, as well. So, Big Wiz, Peter Parker, Mars One, Sugar Cuts.
Yep.
I've even heard DV1's name thrown in there too. Shouts out to DV. Shouts out to all those guys.
Yep.
But your guys' earliest memories of any of those mixers, the Rane 52 or 54? Does anyone remember either of those mixers or have one?
I remember the 54. I at the time still, because we were still on Vestax, and it was pretty good. I was still I didn't obviously have the newer mixers, the 08s and stuff. I still was either on the 05, 06, or the 07. So I was happy from there. But I remember checking it out. I was like, it's pretty good, but I was still used to the Vestax.
Yeah.
But I want to say that after the 54. The 56 was the one I liked. I never tried the 52. Mm-hmm. So I don't know about you guys.
I never owned a 54, but I remember going over to Sugar Cut's place in New York.
Right.
He was the first person that told me about Rane, and he let me mess around with the 54, and I thought it was okay. I wasn't really completely sold on it. I wasn't used to the fader yet, and just the cut.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until the 56, I think, where I felt like they really dialed it in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
And that's kind of where I really got my first introduction to Rane.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you have the 56, Mello?
Same here. Pretty similar path to D's. I remember seeing the 52 and the 54. Like, I couldn't tell you where, but I definitely remember seeing them around here and there. Never had a chance to use one, mix on one, scratch on one. But yeah, 56. You hit it on the head, D. I remember they had a special. It was kind of like a contoured fader cap, right?
Yes.
That was real nice. Like on the 56, I really remember
The
that.
fader was
that about that.
the fader was actually pretty big for you could really handle it compared to the the Vestax.
Yeah, it was physically a nice fader to work with.
Yeah.
For sure. My memory of I think the first Rane that I got was a 56. And I remember it must have been 98, 99, 99, maybe 2000 at the most, because I remember vividly because I was buying the first time I got to buy a whole brand new rig for Dilated. We're going on the road. And so we had the budget, and they're like, man, so go get yourself a brand new setup, Babs. And I got I got a set of 1200 MK2s, and I was torn. We of course were hooked up by Vestax, but I was like, shoot, it's on Capital. I'm going to get myself a new mixer. So it was either I was going to get, I think at the time it was either the 07 or the 56. And I was torn because, yes, I was all Vestaxed out and I was used to the Vestax. But I went ahead and I went for the 56. And I remember I wasn't really used to the fader, and I felt like certain scratches I did better on the Rane, but certain scratches I did better on the Vestax. So but I was open. I was open because I was like, it's okay, different's good. But I think the thing that won me over about the Rane that I noticed was I love the sound quality of it. I loved the build of the 56.
Yeah. The sound was a lot warmer.
It was right, and I literally felt like I could throw that shit on the ground and it would still be okay. Like it was built well.
Yeah,
like,
Rane when they make their mixers, they're very they everything's in house. I mean they're known for, from what I understand, they're known for just like when they're doing the rotary mixers, they handcraft everything. Each mixer
for sure.
So and then even you call them for quality, for customer service. The technician who did all the mixers would actually answer your questions and all that stuff. That's what I remember.
Yep. Yeah. I just thought it was, they always boasted being like it's all American made.
Yeah. Seattle, right? Seattle.
Exactly, and they didn't skimp on any of the materials of the parts.
Yeah.
And I think you nailed it, D. I think the 56 became a standard for a while.
It was a huge standard.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like about the 56 was the power, and it was like a foam.
Oh yes,
and it would break easily.
Yeah, it was like you had the plug.
It was
and then
who decided that?
I don't know.
Yeah, they made the power plug an old school telephone
It was like that clear,
cord.
that clear phone jack.
And then the thing was
Cat 5.
Yeah. Right.
Who selected that? I'm glad you remember that, because you know what?
bizarre.
And we all know what happened because we all had one. Once that little clip broke off it,
Yeah.
then you just had this limp little cord that just
would just fall out easily.
Yeah, it would just fall out and your shit would just unpower. So
Yeah.
that was pretty funny. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I remember having great times with the 56. I ended up feeling solid with that. I toured many years for it. It became my go-to. But then around this time also, Serato comes around.
Yes.
So the digital DJing age starts coming into play. Of course, when we first started doing this, we mentioned this in previous episodes, it was first about an interface box.
Yeah.
It was about, we get the SL1 box, and you got to go to the gig and RCAs and da-da-da-da-da. Bring some records so you could do the swap with your laptop and one USB. But then Rane technically now is the 57 is the first mixer that integrated Serato.
Yes.
All right, so that was game changing.
Yeah.
Who had the 57?
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
Melo, did you have the 57?
I had it, but I tried it once and it wasn't for me.
So you were
Yeah,
so you weren't feeling it. You were doing a 56 in a box for a long time.
Yeah,
then?
yeah, for the longest time. Yeah.
Did you rock the 57D?
No, I never owned a 57. Never did.
You have one, Babs?
I
You have
remember
one, right?
I definitely rocked one for a while, because at that time we got, I want to say we got sponsored and they gave me one because
Yeah, we all got one. Yeah.
I remember, ooh, hey, sorry. Edit that out, Mo. Sorry. I remember getting that, and I liked that one a lot, actually. So it did have Serato controls, and it was a decent first stab at a Serato enabled mixer, but I thought it was too many too many features buried in not enough buttons. It was just kind of like each button had 4 or 5 different purposes. You had to scroll through many screens.
modes.
Yeah, you had in order to get to the effects. It's almost like you had to open the window in Scratch Live and then program it, and then you can
You map it.
you MIDI map it so you can use the mixer. But so it's almost like you had to go too many steps just to go to the using the other stuff besides the queuing.
For sure.
But I mean, there was only like 3 queuing buttons for each side, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
You only had, I guess, 6 buttons all the way across, and you only had access to 3 of your cue points.
Yes.
But okay, so I have to put a little perspective on it just so we all remember too, and for our listeners out there. So before the 57, you have to understand our average setup for the Beat Junkies, though, for us, will be 2 turntables, probably a 56, an SL1 box,
Yeah.
and maybe even still a Pioneer effect box.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, we all rock those EFX 500,
yeah.
and even there was the later iteration of the 1000 or something.
Yeah.
So we were all very used to like, okay, we were using Serato, but we weren't really, Serato wasn't what it is today. It didn't have all these features and extra things in there now, and it all tightened up. So that was our setup, and we'd have that Pioneer box. So the 57 came along. So if you think about it, I mean, that was a big enticing thing to me. Oh, shoot. No more SL1 box.
Yes.
No more Pioneer box. I actually have some built-in effects that I can actually access now.
Right.
So that was really enticing to me. I think I didn't know any different. So I dealt with all those multiple screens and all that junk you had to learn to manage the effects and
Right.
and using the, you know, I started getting a little bit more savvy with turning the knobs and being able to scroll through your Serato instead of like clicking on your mouse.
Yeah.
And I got used to it. But I still think there was still that, you know, we were all seeking a little bit something more still.
Right. Well, you know what the funniest thing, because I didn't like the effects on Serato. I didn't like to go in, so I still actually would hook up the Pioneer effects box. This is just me only.
With
though.
the 57.
With the 57.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like the effects. You know, like, you know, there's like, oh, too much stuff. I wanted to keep it simple. So
Hey, let me ask you this: the 57 mixer, did they still use that telephone thing? Because I didn't have one.
No, that I think I could be wrong, but I want to say it used a different power plug. I'd have to check on that one, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay, dope.
It's Cat 5. Cat 5. That's what it's called.
They did
That's the
use-
actual name for
Ethernet.
that
Is
cable.
it Ethernet?
Ethernet cable.
Ethernet.
Dial up.
Ethernet or Cat 5 cable for power.
wow.
Yeah.
Fired, whoever that was. Sorry. Shouts out to Dean and Mike.
Mike May, yeah.
Mike May over
Mike
Rane.
May.
Held us down for many years.
Yes.
Yeah, all the originals at Rain for sure.
But you know, so sounds kind of mixed here on the 57. Some of us didn't like it. Some of us didn't even mess with it. I liked it a lot. I thought it picked up right where the 56 left off, with some improvements to be had though.
Yes, for sure.
Now up to that point, so if you hadn't, like you said, you would still be rocking an SL1 box and maybe even an effects box for us if we were still rocking like that. I adapted to the 57, but then came along what we had all hoped for, the 62.
Yes.
I think it's all safe to say we all rock the 62 pretty hard.
Yeah.
For sure.
I
We
did,
were all
definitely.
we were all definitely solidly sponsored by Rane at that point. We were all fully sponsored. Vestax was no more. We had stopped working for them, and I think at that point this is the only company that made sense for us to work with, if there was any. I think we all had a great relationship with them, and we believed in this mixer. I thought it was a dope mixer.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we were very lucky to actually debut at the NAMM show. It was at the same time it was our 10-year or 20-year anniversary. So I mean, I remember they gave it to us. We tried it out, and then we showcased it at the NAMM show.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and that was a big thing. Yeah, it was a real big thing.
No, for sure. So, I mean, let's talk about why that mixer was such a big deal. I mean, cool. Of course, it had Serato in it. That was cool.
Right.
But you know, there was more features. There was more access to Serato. I think it got laid out a little better. We had some more cue points.
The 5 key points was
We had 5 on
You
each
had
side
5.
now.
Yeah.
You had 2 USB.
That was the biggest thing.
That was
2
huge.
USBs.
Yeah, that was
huge.
Yeah, that was the problem with the 57, because you still had to play record. If you had to, if the other
Transition.
DJ is going to transition, you still had to put on a vinyl record or whatever,
Right.
and then put on the and then, you know, put your laptop in, and then after that switch over.
Right.
But then now with the 62, like you said, it's more laid out. It's more user friendly. I mean, you had the loops instead of pressing loops. If you didn't know how to use the keyboard shortcuts, you still would do. I was at the time, I didn't really use the keyboard shortcuts. I was just still manually turn on the loops or whatnot.
Yeah.
But now you can turn on the loops on the 62, and you can even major loops on the spot.
Yeah.
Right
Oh,
there.
okay.
Right. And then also same thing when you're loading a song. They had the knobs on each side. You can scroll down, press the button on your crate, and it'll highlight the song. Same thing. And then if you want to do it, you can do instant doubles as well.
Okay.
The effects, I thought the effects were very great. You know, and
I thought they were decent. I thought they were much better than the 57. That's for sure.
Yeah,
So
for
this mixer had its own effects built in.
yes.
So, and I liked it. I think I just always wanted it to be able to a little stronger, which is effects are just a little stronger. I always felt I had the
On the
the wet
62?
dry.
on the
Yeah.
62.
I love the effects on the 62.
So
I
do
thought
I.
they were perfect. I actually missed
I
those
liked it, yeah.
the effects. Yeah, they just
you liked it better than the Pioneer box? See, the Pioneer
That's
effects
close.
were
I
always
mean-
the bar for me. They always just were easy and
Well,
just
for sure. But
knocked.
the thing that was challenging, if you guys think back, using the Pioneer, like you're talking about something that's like a good, 2.5, 3 feet. It was a reach.
For sure.
We were working hard, you know what I mean, to really
sure.
like put that to
Oh,
full use.
right, right.
Yeah.
And with the 62, it was dope because it's it's right on
there.
board the
Yeah.
face, the mixer.
yeah, I think
so-
ergonomically it was awesome. But I'm just saying, like audio quality wise, nothing was better than
Yeah.
the Pioneer effects box to me. Just
Yeah,
always.
no, I mean,
just
the
sounded
effects
great,
was dope. Yeah,
you
the
know?
60 I really love the effects on the 62 though.
Yeah, so do I. I mean,
echo was-
obviously
was
on the
cold.
Pioneer box, you can you can do certain things where you can loop it and all that stuff, and it does all the time. But yeah, I agree with Melo. I think the effects were just
It was decent.
it-
I mean, the fact that it had tap
Yeah.
was everything for me. Just because I was always using tap
Tap tempo.
Yeah.
for like delay. Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
like how the joystick was right there too. Like everything was kind of right there within like 2 square inches of each other, so
Yep.
you could like hit the effect and you could like play with the time signatures and stuff, and then control everything like right there.
Yeah.
It was within reach. Like
And then
that's
even
what I
the-
liked about
the
it.
filters too, as well. The EQ and the filters were great.
Yeah.
I definitely better than the 56, at least,
Yeah.
or the 57, really.
For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it improved on the 57 in pretty much every way.
yeah.
It still had a great fader. It still had the
The curves.
this awesome magnetic fader that Rane had been known for since the 56. They kept on with that strong whatever they dialed in, like you're saying, D. They kept on. Still well built. Still awesome sound quality.
Cat 5 definitely out of the picture at this
Definitely
point.
no more
No-
Ethernet
no more
cables to run the
Ethernet.
power. 2 USBs. And it worked with Serato, which happened to be our DVS of choice. So it really made a lot of sense for us. And shoot, we used it for many years, and it's still something that we have many of them here at the school. I think it's a long time standard. I think when we talk about Rane mixers, 56 and the 62, I feel like became real. And the 57, arguably, I think they all had real impact. They were all like just long-staying mixers that even up to now are still hold their value.
Yeah, for sure.
The 62 is definitely a standard, but I always felt like the fader wasn't consistent enough for me. Like I could jump on someone else's 62 at a club, and the cut isn't as sharp as what I'm used to.
Right.
And
And
the
then,
one at your crib or
yeah,
whatever.
so I don't know why and how come certain ones weren't dialed in
Right.
exactly the same.
like each fader had their own character.
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah.
Interesting.
And I always felt, I feel like Rane was a great fader, but if you didn't take care of it,
Yeah.
or if it was around extreme weather conditions, for instance,
Yeah.
or
It
if
would lock up on you.
or if it
Yeah.
sat like right where the air conditioner hit or something,
Right, right.
and you didn't get at it all the time,
Right.
it would get slow, it would get
True,
tight. You know what I
true.
mean? So, and my other that wasn't perfect. I mean, I really couldn't stand the fact that all of my cue point buttons were broken.
Oh,
Most of the time,
Oh,
those plastic buttons just fell through after a
Yeah.
while. Especially number one and
Wear and
number
tear.
one on each side were definitely both broken.
Right,
and I had to send my junk into Rane all the time to get those fixed because they were just these kind of feelingless, clicky,
yeah.
kind of tacky buttons.
Yeah.
They weren't even pads; they were literally clicky buttons. So they would always just after you hit them too much, they would just crack and just all of a sudden just sink
underneath
in.
the
Yeah.
faceplate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't heavy duty at all.
Not at all.
No. I have a question related to the 62 for you guys. Just interested for myself. So this mixer is kind of like the first mixer that we're seeing where we don't have to necessarily, like Rhett was saying, you can pretty much control everything from the face of the mixer, right? Meaning that we're not reaching over to our laptop for key
Yeah.
points.
Right.
It's all right there. Effects, like Rhett was saying, you can scroll, loops, all that. How long did it take for you guys to get comfortable using that mixer and like the features that you were going to use, whether it was the effects, the echo, scrolling, loading, instant doubles, all that? Like, how long did it take you before you were comfortable on that mixer? Just seeing like how powerful it was and all of its abilities.
What's sad is all I used was the effects. I know you could do all the loading and all that, but I
Right.
still went on the laptop and did all that.
Oh,
so
okay.
I guess I'm kind of
So you never,
prehistoric.
you always go to the
I'm
laptop,
I'm
the
too
keyboard.
old school. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no,
I
a
only
lot of
use the
DJs do
effects.
that. I'll still do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm right there with D. I think I probably used about like I don't know, 15% of the actual power what that mixer could really do.
Yeah.
I think I knew how to do a few of the effects. I obviously use the cue points. I knew how to scroll and select songs and crates.
Right.
I kind of,
But I'm not a very super techie kind of guy either, though, you know. So, but
for me, I got inspired because of Jay. You know how when Jay gets some type of mixer equipment, he's all over it. So when I see him doing like certain things, I was like, oh, you can do that. Once I learned that, and I tried it out, and I got comfortable. Because like I said, like for me, if I want to set loops instead of trying to like do it on the laptop, I can just like, okay, boom, I stop, boom, lock it, boom, and then I have my loops already. Same thing queuing. Like when I want to set a cue point, boom, 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 I'm there. And then same thing of me, instead of always going to key, like shift load, left, shift right, I can just go scroll, boom, click, I'm there.
You just have to eyeball your screen to make sure you have the right track, right? Like,
right.
Yeah.
But I mean, once I got that, I felt real comfortable with it. That was just me.
Interesting.
yeah, I mean, I think we all use those functions, but I knew that mixer did way more than that I never really delved into.
Yeah,
you know what
it
I
was
mean?
powerful. It did a lot. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for me, I probably like a good close to like a year and a half, because I was really like Rhett was saying, once I realized like, oh, you can do all that. I really don't have to touch my laptop for anything ever except to turn on Serato, So yeah, probably about a year and a half before I really got comfortable just kind of using all that, and it would save some time. But just kind of like learning a new language.
Yeah.
Kind of got to learn like where everything lives and
For sure.
how to control it. But that was a dope mixer, man. I still have mine. I still use
for
mine.
sure. Mine is right over there. Gets frequently banged on over there.
Yeah,
on the
shout out to
Loctagon.
Rane. Shout out
Shouts
to all
out
our
to
people
Rane.
at Rane. Yeah.
So that actually, man, I don't know how long that was a standard, but that was a solid long spell that the 62 was here.
So it came out in 2012, right? Because that was
Yeah.
our 20
Yep.
or 2012.
2012.
So yeah, for
You know what? I mean, I don't know if we. So around the time of the 57, there was a competitor to that mixer. I don't know if you remember the Pioneer 909.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Right.
yes,
So
yes.
we mentioned, I think we briefly mentioned in the last episode.
Yeah.
But I think it is
That's
notable to talk about a little bit more. I don't think we went into too much detail, but there was the Pioneer DJM 707 and 909.
Yeah, and that's where they combined the EFX 500 into the
Right.
Pioneer mixer, which was before the 909 was the 707.
Yeah.
So they combined those two, and it had a nice fader. I don't know if
yeah,
you guys
the
ever-
fader was
Yeah.
pretty good. I
That
remember
one actually had a pretty advanced cut-in kind of
It was
curve
sharp.
thing going on.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And it had a touch screen.
Yep.
So you had access to a whole bunch of effects. I think you have like 3 effects per channel at a
Yeah,
time.
it was a
and you
bit
could-
overwhelming.
Yeah.
It was deep.
that's
Yeah, I
great.
mean,
Yeah.
and I remember, a bunch of our friends were really fond of this mixer.
Yeah.
Jazzy Jeff used
Yeah,
it a
for
lot.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff, and
Jeff,
I remember Craze really loved it, and A-Track really
That's
really
right.
loved that mixer. I remember you rocked with that mixer, Tough D, for a long time.
Yeah.
You were on that mixer?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Doing
I had-
shows with it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Shout out
Oh,
to
okay.
Davey Davey.
You know,
Yeah, yeah,
actually, I was rocking with that too, and I actually have to shout out old homeboy Carl Detkin. Actually, is the one who
word.
got me, and I don't remember he used to hook us up with the EFXs. And then this is a funny thing, like, because we have to talk about Pioneer now. Up until that mixer, the only thing that I wanted to even mess with the Pioneer was the effects box.
Right.
Yeah.
As far as DJ gear, for us kind of DJs, we weren't, more than 2 channels at that point. We weren't really interested.
No.
Right.
And I know Pioneer's always been, I know it's a little cliche, a pioneer in terms of like the big club DJ mixers and superior sound quality, and it's a standard around the world. But, for us, we were looking for these small compact mixers that did a very specific thing, just letting us cut it up. And, these are pre-Serato. We're going back pre-Serato again with the 909.
Yeah.
So this mixer was very cutting edge for the time, being pre-Serato, and I thought I remember Craze doing a lot of innovative stuff with it. There was different things that allowed him to do stutters and loops and things like that were new and weren't the standard stuff. And I remember him incorporating it into some really sick routines. But this also gave Pioneer it made me look at them different. Besides the EFX and later on the CDJs,
Right.
I really wasn't paying attention to what they did
Right.
as a hip hop DJ or a turntable.
They were always kind of like a home stereo company to me, like growing up.
Right.
It's
CD
way different
players,
now.
car stereo.
Yeah, like
right.
home stereo. Yeah,
we
like
thought of them in
speakers.
this other consumer way.
Yeah, like 8-inch
Warren G
woofers.
shouted. Was it
Warren G? He shouted him out.
Something Pioneer and. I'm bad with lyrics.
But I think this is the first one that made me look at them like to take them a little bit serious. This 909 mixer,
Right.
and it's kind of foreshadowing the next mixer we wanted to talk about, because after the 62, finally comes along the Pioneer S9.
S9.
That's not.
Yeah.
And what can I say about the S9, guys? It's my mixer of choice these days.
Yes, I think it's a standard now these days. But we should note that by that time, it was only they were using Serato DJ Pro. They didn't use Scratch Live. I think people forget that, like when you're using the 62, in order to use Serato with that mixer, you had to buy the Rane. Now, when Pioneer came out with the 62, they made the Serato DJ Pro, just because now the programs they're able to use it with different mixers and different equipment. Whereas
Right.
so I think because they had only an exclusive when they did Scratch Live, it was an only exclusive deal with Rane. But
Right.
once they did with Pioneer and made Serato DJ Pro, it was open to the market basically.
To use Serato DJ Pro.
Yes.
So that also played a part into why the Rane 62 kind of died out in the 57s, because they weren't supported by Serato DJ Pro.
Yes.
Right. So, and also too, behind the scenes too, the owners of Rane suddenly at a certain point decided to sell the business and stop doing the business.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I remember for a certain time, and we were still sponsored. All of a sudden we had our close friends at Rane telling us, there's going to be some major changes happening. The company's not going to be around. We don't know what's going on. The owners I heard were an elderly couple that just owned the business. They weren't really, in the office doing R&D or anything at that point. They're just owners of a business, and they decided to, hey, we want to sell the business and retire or whatever it was. And so Rane just kind of stopped right there for a second.
Yes.
And so this is like for many years, Rane just
little hiatus. Yeah, they
went
on
under.
hiatus.
And Pioneer came along at the perfect time and actually made a pretty amazing mixer.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely improved on what the 62 did, and buttons,
Better performance pads,
fixed it.
for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
all of the above.
Yeah, I just feel like kind of like what you were saying, Babs, like the S9 just kind of falls right there in line with the quality of work that they've done with all their other DJ mixers. I mean, like you said, sonically, like you play on the 900, any big sound system. I mean, it sounds great, and I feel like the same goes for the S9 too. Like I know that we all use it to DJ, but I mean, it holds its own, in big rooms and stuff. So,
Melo, actually, that's one of my actual gripes with the mixer. Actually, was I wish it sounded as good as the 900. To me personally,
you don't think so?
I don't think it sounds as good as the 900. I don't think it sounds as good as the 62. If I have one criticism about the S9, is I think it could sound a little fatter and warmer.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to agree with you.
I hear it differently. Yeah.
Yeah, because dude, the 900 is hard to fuck with, and I thought they were going to use the guts, and I did find out it is not the same engine as what's running the 909. They definitely used a different. Whatever's on the inside is not the same guts as the 900. But personally, I deal with it because they got so many of the other things right, regardless if you think it sounds different or not. Just everything that we've been asking for that the Rane 62 should have improved on. And I think hadn't all these things happened to Rane, maybe they would have came out with a mixer at a time that would have compromised, or that would have contended with the S9, because S9 came, the timing, there was nothing else fucking with it on the market.
No, my other gripe for the S9 would be the effects. Like the effects is great, but it's
way too wet.
Too wet. Mm-hmm. It's when you put it you put it all the way to the right. and it gets too strong and stuff, the effects is like overpowers.
You have to find the right spot.
Yeah, so that's my only gripe.
I actually like the effects because it reminds me of the effects box. But I will say it is pretty strong. I never have my level past like, I don't know. It's like at
6 or 7.
It's like at 7 o'clock usually, and it's more than enough, you know. But I do like those big paddles. It does remind me of that familiar Pioneer effects, you know, tap. And
sure.
You know, I always thought the Rane 62 tap was really inaccurate, and also too, if you had, it would you know, sometimes I wanted to tap the BPM of the record I'm scratching, but it's, you know, it reacts to the BPM of the other record. There was some confusing things sometimes when I was trying to get the BPM and the modes, and you know, it brought me back to the familiar EFX system that I love from Pioneer, which I thought was a big plus.
Yeah,
the pads, MPC style pads.
Oh yeah,
performance pads are great.
That was
solid.
Long overdue.
Pads were dope for sure. So,
but my favorite thing was the fader, actually.
the fader they got right. It's so consistent.
Yeah.
You know, you can go on anyone's S9 and it's exactly the fucking same.
The Magvul, right?
For sure.
Magvul fader.
Yeah, and I think like they actually had that feature on the 909. They had some sort of tension control or or how smooth it moved.
But you needed a screwdriver just to access it. Was the issue.
That's where they didn't. That's where they didn't get it right.
Right.
It wasn't so easy to make that adjustment. But we have to remember they did have that on that fader, and I loved that.
Yeah.
And they got it right on the S9 because you're able to just adjust the tension right outside, right near the crossfader curve.
Yeah.
You have your own tension control, and I love that about the S9. And in general, I think like Pioneer's timing was impeccable because at this point, I think the S9 is pretty much the standard for, you know, our type of DJs. Anyone looking for a standard 2 DJ mixer, it's considered kind of the standard these days.
For sure.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
Would you guys agree?
I agree.
100%. Yeah.
Shouts out to Davey Dave and everyone at Pioneer,
Davey Dave,
who've always supported the Junkies. We love the S9. I think like these days it's my mixer of choice on my rider.
Yeah, same.
You guys too?
Yep.
Same.
Every time.
And what else can I say about the Pioneer S9? Shoot, man, I love everything about it. Like, I think the biggest thing though, D, is what you said. Like, I do feel comfortable. You know, back in the day, at a certain point, I stopped taking my equipment out. You know, for dilated shows.
Yeah.
And it became more practical to like have your shit on a rider. But I would continue to take my own mixer though because of what you're talking about, D. It's okay with it. You know, I'll take some 1200s from a rental place.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, all the PA and all that other stuff, all good. But like, you're right. If I put a 62 on my rider, crossing my fingers, or I would at least be having a can of TV tuner control spray with me.
Just in case, yeah.
Just in case I'd have to get a stiff fader, right?
Right.
I have to confidently say I will put an S9 on my rider, and I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can feel good about it. You know?
Yeah, for sure. It's very consistent.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of times for what we have to do, when we're talking about doing technical DJing, especially like UD doing like scratch music, or me having to do a turntablist solo during the show, it's a nice thing to not have to worry about.
For sure.
You know, and it makes a difference. So, but shoot, guys.
I know
Mixers?
I know there's a lot of mixers we still need to cover, but I mean,
It's impossible to talk about all of them. And this is, like we said, this is part 2 of a series.
Yeah.
I think next time we'll pick up and talk about all these other awesome mixers that are out now that are like competing with the S9 that we love as well.
Yep.
But that's for next episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, Building Better DJs. Once again, please subscribe to everywhere you watch or listen to podcasts. Check us out. Our record pool, beatjunkiesound.com, our online school, beatjunkies.tv. Of course, everything about the Beat Junkie Institute of Sound, beatjunkiesound.com. We're the Beat Junkies. I'm Babu.
Rhettmatic.
Melo-D.
D-Styles.
Building better DJs. We'll see you guys next episode. Peace.